You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Hour, the show that brings you unfiltered stories and insight from the Twin Cities real estate world with your hosts, Chris Rooney, broker at RE/MAX Preferred, and Andy Presky, leader of the Preferred Home Team at RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
Hey, I kind of like that beat.
Yeah, it makes you think we're going to therapy.
Well, yeah, no comment.
You might need it with these rates rising, huh?
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
Hey, it didn't hurt something I was involved in yesterday. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we're still seeing bodies coming in, models too.
Yeah. Well, speaking of models, they start up again today.
Yeah.
Thursday's our day. So Andy, just so you know, last week I spent, let me see, 2, 4, 5, that's 6, 11, 17 hours in models. I don't think I've done that a whole parade. What?
Are you okay?
Yeah. Actually, it wasn't bad. I didn't mind it at all, actually.
I hate to say it, but I shouldn't say hate to say it. I love it.
Yeah.
I literally can't. I sitting in the models, answering questions, helping people figure it out. I mean, because you got to think about this. I mean, people don't go out to model homes because they're going to jail. They're going to model homes because they're dreaming and they're thinking and they feel good and they want to improve their lives or their houses. And so it's just the parade carries a real positive vibe. And so I love being around it. I like the energy that you get off of it is pretty addicting.
You said a key thing though, sitting in a model. Now that would be nice. Then I could stay there much longer, but standing in a model is normally what we do. And that gets, I mean, with no shoes on too, it's just like, oh my God.
If you've never gone 4 hours when you're running into a model and you say, hey, quick, before I open the model, I'm going to take a quick little pee and then I'm going to take a swig of my soda. And then 4 hours later, you're like, oh my God, I'm going to burst because people followed you in the model and you haven't been sitting still since you got there. And, but you know what? Hey, nature of the beast, right? I'm sure the same thing happens in other jobs. And, but you get rolling, man. And then customers, some of the questions, I am fascinated with how many people, Chris gets exercise for the year standing in the parade.
I doubled it.
Yeah, I doubled my output from last year.
Exercise, totally. I've got a host though that's with me. I do that the whole time. So
yeah,
the best part about this parade is I don't have to unlock it. I don't have to turn off lights or turn off lights. That's like heaven. And put up signs. The sign part. That's the part of open houses that when you've been doing it for so long, I mean, it's just like you want to just pop in and do your job and then I'm gone.
Yeah. So. Well, that's true. I mean, the market, it was kind of funny how I was watching over the last couple of months, and I know that there's a lot of people that, want to talk about, the doom and the gloom. But I'll tell you what, in the last week, specifically the last week, I've seen a ton of traffic pick up again, where showings on models, showings on existing listings. I've been out on several market analysis again. The market's just like, okay, it is what it is. Let's keep moving. And there's still a demand problem. A supply problem. There's not a demand problem. There's plenty of people that want houses. I think there's an affordability issue now because it's simple math. As the rates go up, you qualify for less, and so that'll control how fast we appreciate on these houses. Because I've always made that analogy where as the market kind of goes up at 4%, and then somebody's like, I'm going to offer 50,000 over, and they put that leg on the market, and then another leg. The legs are gone, and I've been explaining that to people that I'm not seeing people coming in saying, hey, I'll give you 50,000 over. But on the other hand, they're still paying you a price that you wouldn't have gotten 2 years ago. And so you're still at the top, in my opinion, or close to the top of the market. You're just not getting the crazy, like peak. But how many times have you ever peaked and time to market, right?
Yeah, there still is a bunch of segments that are getting multiple offers and are getting over their price. And I think it's almost in a way that people are trying to beat it 8% interest rates, and I don't think that's going to happen, but who knows? But the market.
I stopped guessing now. I'm so like in the I just don't know and I don't care to guess category. But here's the thing: people need places to live. People need investments, places to put their money to beat inflation. You know, and like I said, there was a real estate agent that came in, and this is where it kind of baffles me. Well, you know, and she was out of Eden Prairie, and I won't name the name of the company, but she was like, "Oh, we're starting to see 18% discounts on houses coming in on offers." And I said, "What market are you covering?" I said, "We're still getting 6 and 7% appreciation over last year, on top of having solid, good offers that are coming in." Now, not everybody's broke. Not everybody lives right up to the edge of their payment. Most of buyers I know in the $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 price range, this is 10% of their income goes towards their mortgage. It's not 40% like it used to be. So, I mean, people still have great incomes. They still have lots of savings. They have lots of equity. And people that are in those positions don't make stupid decisions. So people, when they're sitting there saying, "Oh, we're waiting for the deals," you might be waiting years, honestly, until once everybody decides to sell their house at one time, which I don't think is going to happen again because rates are, though a lot of the majority of the people that do have mortgages locked in at, 2.7 or 3.5 or whatever, they can't almost afford to ever get rid of that house. So that house will probably in their lifetime never come back up for sale. They'll probably hold it as an investment property or, whatever, because if you have to replace it and you're trying to upgrade and interest rates went up, right? All of a sudden, that's a triple whammy. That you go from a $1,500 house payment to $5,000. Most people won't take that jump. They'll say, "You know what? Let's just do other things with our money and wait." So I don't think the inventory is there's a solution, and new construction just keeps bringing us expensive solutions. So and you always wonder why are they building so many apartments. That's why.
Yeah, I believe too that there are deals out there. Some people are getting worried, and some people try to beat the fall and then start reducing and doing some things. So I think there's going to be some opportunities to be able to grab even like flip homes, but I think there's some good opportunities on that to kind of really switch it. I've been seeing a lot of 2002 to 2006 stuff coming on the market, just kind of and when I say that, I'm talking about the big corner Whirlpool tubs in a bathroom, that terracotta tans and beiges and a little darker kind of stuff. And I think there's a lot of opportunities with those to be able to come in. And I think just if you were a contractor, Andy, you should do this. If you're a contractor, just come in and do those bathrooms. Like, hey, I've got a solution to be able to take that freaking tub out and be able to put a standalone tub. I think that could change houses like that, along with a little paint.
Yeah. I've been through I'm not picking on anybody because I know every house has their own uniqueness. I've been through a couple houses in the last 2 weeks where I should have a website saying unusual homes. And I was out with buyers doing showings. And I'm telling you, man, there's some interesting stuff that's being brought to market right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't
know. Did you see my Instagram post where we had that one with the great room that was an old barn?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you don't follow me on social media? That's cool. Anyway, hey,
I just do reels, man. If you don't do a reel,
I know your people do your reels.
I do reels.
No, on Instagram, we actually posted this great room that actually was an old barn, and it kind of had that cool factor until you started looking at the size of it, and you're going, "My golly, how much does this cost to actually heat this monster?" And then here's the coolest thing ever. So we're sitting there, we're walking through this whole thing, and she goes, "When this eccentric, millionaire built this place or renovated this place, they kept a couple fun features. One of them was this." And you open up the door in the basement that looked like you were going into a creepy little like cellar, and you walk through a concrete tunnel, and all of a sudden you look up, you're in a silo. Oh. And she goes, "They were going to do a spiral staircase up to a deck that's like 30 feet in the air." And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So, when people say, "Oh, housing's boring," there are some cool stuff. Or like yesterday, I was up in the north, I'll say Northeast Metro, and I'm up there running around, and by God, there's this guy, looks like a little 1,200 square foot Rambler. And you walk in, he goes, well, you ready to go to the spa? I'm like, sure. And walk right out of the master. Here's a 40-foot long by 26-foot wide pool room with jacuzzi tub, sauna. I mean, on this like normal, what I would call like a Brooklyn Center like sized house.
Yeah.
And it's got a pool room on the back that is, I mean, mom and dad back in the day when they built that thing, you know, back in the 60s were they must have made a big bonus.
Well,
and it was great. It just was, it's such a unique property. And it's like some of those, like you want a little house, but you want to go swimming every morning and take a spa and have a big party room.
Yeah.
They're out there, man.
Yeah. That's interesting. I think I did see that though. I remember something on yours about a silo.
You want me to pull it up on my phone? It'll look weird, but I can do it.
Oh boy.
Hang on. Please stand by.
We should maybe give a shout out to whoever created that new office for you. Wow.
Well, thank you.
Looks fantastic.
Here was the this room.
Oh my gosh. Pull it back just a little, Andy. Okay, perfect. That's the family room. Or is that the pool room?
No, this is the one with the barn, and that's a walkway going to a secret room up on the top level that overlooks the river. Check this, and this was that. So here's another angle on that house.
What's the blue part?
That's the floor.
That's just the floor. Okay. Wow.
Yep. And then we had I gotta show you here. So then this was when you walked out there, this was the silo.
Silo. Wow. That would be kind of fun though.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, just that's just that. Interesting, fun. That's why I love this business. I love this career. I mean, really, you get into where, how would you make that up? I mean, how would you ever say, you know what, I got this idea? And there are so many people out there in this world that have brains that are so awesome and just so creative and just come up with some of the coolest stuff. And I'm like, I sit back and just admire it because I would never have thought, hey, I got an idea.
I think I've watched the news probably 4 times in the last 5 years. And 2 of the times have been somewhat lately. And then there's this Hobbit house. Have you seen the Hobbit house? Yeah. That it's in River Falls. And it was literally, I mean, I don't know what Hobbit is. I mean, that must be from some movie or something, but it looked like a big mushroom, and it looked like foam insulated everywhere and all these weird little tunnels and stuff. And then it sold immediately, because those kind of things are nowadays. Look at this. What do we got going there? But I
just asked her to pull my shades so you could actually, there we go.
Oh, okay. Wow, look at this.
Whoa.
Anyways,
she's wearing the uniform like instructed.
But things like that now, the weird stuff that you never ever would have sold before, are kind of valuable in that with this whole Airbnb quick rental type stuff, because someone wants something just totally unusual. No one would want to buy that, but geez, that would be super cool to stay in for like a weekend and something totally different. And then, do your little Instagram silos on there, Andy. You could be like, hey, look at.
Yeah. I'll tell you, man, it keeps it interesting, but then you start looking at things like, think about this, guys. How do you finance that if somebody doesn't need financing? How do you come up with a true value? How do you come up with a fair price? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it gets pretty tricky.
I'll tell you, that's the one thing people need to start thinking about is probably financing it themselves. And that's going to be a big thing now. I mean, if you got a 2.5% interest rate and the rates are going to be 7%, I mean, there's some big value in that spread that you have there. So if you're a seller, really, should you sell that thing? I mean, it might be smart to kind of hang on to that and or leverage it by saying, hey, I'll give you an interest rate of 4%. And I'll make a little on that spread. Plus, you're going to end up paying me more because it's more valuable to you. We're working on a deal that they wanted to have the seller pay almost 6 points to be able to buy down the interest rate so these people could do it. We're talking almost $50,000, $50,000 in which to be able to do that, but was able to get them to qualify. So people are coming up with different ways in which to do stuff. But if you think about that, if you were the seller and maybe your rate wasn't that much, I mean, you could take that $50,000
Yeah.
So something to think about.
Oh, I think you'll see that a lot in the future, Chris, self-financing. And then even where, in the right circumstances, people even assuming mortgages. I saw that language being added back into mortgages now where they have assumable. You just have to get qualified with the lender, and then you're in a position of where you can, take over their interest rate, which makes that house even more attractive. So let's say that, they bought it for, and they put money down and they owe 400 on it, and you're going to be putting down 100,000. So there's, $500,000 that the seller gets. That works out pretty slick, and they're happy. You're happy. Everybody's,
Andy, where did you see those assumable mortgages?
A lot of the FHA over the last couple of years, and they've added that verbiage back into the loans.
Oh, I didn't know
and
that.
A lot of the conventional mortgages also have that verbiage in there. Not everyone, but several of them that I've seen over the last year have said that this mortgage can be assumed in the future with qualification by the lender.
Yeah, because typically what happens is there's a due on sale clause in your mortgage,
Right.
which basically says, hey, if you sell or give your interest to someone else, that loan needs to be paid off. So people got to keep that in mind, because if you're going to sell it, and let's say a contract for deed, which really means owner financing, most likely in most of the circumstances, they could come to you and say, hey, you need to be able to pay this off because you sold it over to this person. But remember when we got all that paperwork at the closing, and that realtor, that said, hey, the time you start reading that is when you start missing payments, because that'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. But you might look in there to be able to find out if there's some assumability of those mortgages, because that could be really valuable for you.
Oh, for sure. I think it's really cool. I mean, and what you're talking about, Chris, too, a lot of times is where a consumer will take on like a contract for deed, for an example, and then you're acting as the bank and paying the payments, even though you owe payments. And that is correct. Chris is talking about that, where so you owe that 400,000, but you're going to let them make you payments, and you're making a little money on the spread. There is a lot of times where that doesn't work, or they don't like you to do that, right? So especially if it's a CD where they get put on the deed, and you're just kind of, I don't know, whatever, you're taking advantage of their financing, or they're taking advantage of the fact that you need credit help, and they're charging you 8%, they're paying 3%, and they're making a 5% spread, which I think you'll see a lot of that happening in the future. I just don't think that there's going to be a lot of people that are admitting it,
Here's another thing, Andy, that people might want to think about is, and I had this happen to me. Gosh, it was before the interest rates went crazy. But to be able to make a deal, what the seller did is say, hey, I need enough money in which to be able to pay off my loan, but I don't really need the other money. But I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind making some interest on it. So in this scenario, it was like 1.7 million. They wanted $1 million paid off and then pay payments on the 700,000. And when you do that, it was able to be able to put a deal together. They got more money than what they would have done if they would have had to kind of do it all together in one mortgage. So someone didn't quite qualify for that, but they were able to structure the loan in a way that was acceptable for the first mortgage as well. So
cool.
Things to think about.
Well, that's why they hire you, Chris. You know how to make deals happen.
Well, thank you, Andy.
Well, it's true.
Yeah. You have to be creative. And I'll tell you what, these are the kind of markets I like a heck of a lot better than the ones just run as fast as you can to try to get to a house that you have to actually know something. So
the only guy who could keep up on that treadmill would be a guy like Nick. You and I, we get over 2 miles an hour and we're falling on our face. He's running at 9 miles an hour.
We sit in model homes.
We sit on a unicycle on the treadmill.
Okay, hey, I think I got some good news for Andy. Some of his favorite companies are struggling. So this segment's gonna be brought to you by Praski Preferred Home Team.
Well, they said I could have 30 seconds on the show for a quick ad. Andy Praski, Remax Advantage Plus, Andy@Praski.com if you want to email us. Here's the thing, 22 years in the business, over 1,400 sales. I'd like to help you with your real estate needs. If that's buying, if that's selling, if that's building, whatever it is, give us a call, send us an email. Let's get you started on your real estate journey. I'd like to help you on the way. Lots of experience here, and would like to put it to work for you. Andy Praski, Remax Advantage Plus. Thanks for listening to the show.
Oh, surprise, surprise. Opendoor also has really hurt the market too. I'm telling you.
Have you had the pleasure of doing any showings with Opendoor properties?
Yes, I have.
It is an absolute pain in the apple.
It's interesting.
You know why that is? They don't want us to show their houses. But they want somebody to come and buy them directly.
They think that a company lost money on 40% of it, 42% of its August resales after it failed to anticipate the slide in the housing demand. Wait until September's number comes out.
Oh yeah, they'll be begging for, yeah.
But I'll tell you what they did. Number one is that whoever was telling them how to buy them was wrong, and number two, whoever's telling them how to price them to resell is wrong. They tried way too hard.
Do you think what you're saying to me? I'm just want to make sure I'm going to write. Hold on, I'm going to write this down. So you're telling me that the algorithms on a computer software system are off, and that you still need human interaction to evaluate that house?
No, I would never say that, Andy.
What are you crazy? Apps do everything, Chris.
Yeah.
They'll solve the world's problems, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's a lot of truth to that. I mean, we've talked about that a lot. I mean, Zillow doesn't know if you have that built-in corner jacuzzi or you have that separate tub that looks like a 2022 house. And I'm telling you, those things matter. But I mean, what Andy's talking about here is, I mean, if you had something that had some good square footage and you had some nice little sales that happened around you, you were going to turn out really good. And then they'll come in and then they'll just repaint with, I don't know who's doing that painting, but it doesn't look that great. And then they put all these cameras and all these weird contraptions on the doors and how to get in and make it really hard for you, and then overprice it. And so it sits, and then people think, oh my gosh, there's a deal. And then that deal becomes lower, lower, lower. And then they accept an offer because they got to get rid of it and get it off their inventory.
Because it's on their naughty list. I agree. I think that, they literally are constantly putting lipstick and earrings on a pig. I mean, and it's still a pig. And the property, they overpaid for it. They're not doing the true renovations. What I mean by lipstick and earrings, they're putting new, really cheap carpet in.
Lipstick and earrings, cheap carpet. They
cover the walls. The houses, a lot of times, sometimes they'll add in a little rouge on the cheeks with the old lighting fixtures. But 90% of the time, these guys are just putting these houses up for sale that you walk in them and they still stink. Like if it smells like food or if it smells like smoke or whatever it is that they're trying to hide. And the person that was selling it, maybe the person inherited the house. And they're like, well, let's just sell it because, dad smoked cigars in his chair his whole life and the house smells like cigars. Well, they'll buy that house, put fresh carpet, fresh paint, and then they try to sell it. And it still has outdated appliances. A lot of times the kitchens are outdated. The yards are usually in disarray. They're mowed, but they're gross. And so most people that need to just dump a house, I mean, God bless them for helping America out for a couple of years, but people dump their houses with those kind of deals. But they're not. Here's what I'd say to you. Again, there used to be a term called equity stripping, okay? And it used to be illegal. And now it's considered a business practice where, hey, we buy ugly houses and I mean, God bless them, they've been around forever. But that idea there is that at least they're telling you, hey, you got an ugly house and we're going to pay a fair ugly house price. When they say, hey, we pay fair market value and you can skip the realtors and you can avoid all these fees, and then they do just the opposite. You know what I mean? They give you a low number because they have their costs and their overhead costs. And so you get a lower price and maybe it's easy, but I'll tell you what, if you can make another $30,000 or $40,000 and still have your house sell in 30 days, and so what, you're inconvenienced 3 nights where you have showings, who cares? I mean, I don't know. I don't know about you, but that kind of money for me would be definitely worth staying engaged.
We call those less than beautiful houses. Ugly is not a nice word. Yeah. But anyways, I don't know though, Andy. I think a lot of those people that got some Opendoor buys made out like bandits. And I think they're the ones that made out over what Opendoor did. And I think we're going to find out too how that whole thing went down. I mean, were the people that were trying to secure these homes and get these homes incentivized to be able to get them. And then all of a sudden you start fudging the comps and making it look like it's better than it is, that it'll sell for this. And then all of a sudden it goes to somebody else and then they have to sell it. They're like, hey, we'll just do what you say because we've got 50 of these listings coming on and handling them. We'll just throw it out there. And by the way, we bought it for this. We got to add on 13% because of this and this. And that's not how you determine a market price. You determine what else is it competing against.
Well, and think about this though. Even if you were a silly robot and you were picking prices and offering houses, and everything keeps going up in value, in that market you can afford to make mistakes, and a lot of times the market will forgive you as the houses keep going up in price, right? In a market where all of a sudden it's flat or it's honest, now you're going to see where those deals aren't as attractive. And I do agree with you. There were a couple customers of ours where we said, hey, would you like a guaranteed offer? And of course, we have guaranteed buyers too. And we would just make a smaller percent. We'd make like 1% on the deal, which is fine because all we're doing is introducing two people and you cut the deal. There were some of those offers that were coming in at or darn close to retail, but they come in at or close to retail minus 12%. So you were still, but there was all the inconveniences and you picked the closing dates. And so, I mean, I get that there is an equation there that for some people it made sense. Yeah. And you're right. And some people beat the system because the system wasn't very smart. And remember, the system will go the other way someday. And somebody's going to say, hey, tweak that algorithm this much. And all of a sudden it's in their favor. And you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden they'll be predatory or something. And that's where I think the whole practice of I don't have to do anything. I'm just going to give you my house. Come on. This in America, owning homes is what is it? 70% of people's net worth or something like it's crazy how many people don't have anything other than their home's equity. You know, it's a high percentage of people that don't. And so the equity that you're giving up, I don't know, be careful. Be smart.
I think it's interesting. I mean, you see Andy's passion on these things and these companies and stuff, but I think it comes down to that, you know, people are getting all of these things thrown at them and we can kind of see through it just because we've been through it a long time. And then it just gets really frustrating that, you know, you see all these people falling for it, but it doesn't, it's not what's best for them. And so I think that's where this little passion comes from. And I think, and it's right. I'm glad there's someone that says it.
Right. But I mean, I think here's the difference. And this is the fallacy that all people that are out there, I think, that do this think. A house for sale is going to sell for the same price regardless of who puts it up for sale or regardless of how it's marketed. And that's just not true. No. I mean, the amount of people, the amount of interest that you get, and like I always say, the terms of the offer, are they giving you the closing dates you want with the terms you want? Are you finding the person with the least amount of financing required? I mean, huge deposits. You only find those people with good marketing, where you've got a bigger reach and you pull people in, you make sure everybody understands what your house represents, and then you get the best offers the market will bear. When you throw it up for sale, somebody's getting lucky driving by that day with the for sale sign in the yard. They call quick, and because they don't care, they take the offer. And you know what I mean? Or encourage you to take an offer versus when you market hard and you actually, you know, accentuate the features and the beauty of the home and put it out there for sale. And now you have 100 people interested in the house instead of 10, you're going to get the cream.
Hallelujah.
Beautiful. Preach. Okay, let's go into some fun things. We'll get into our social media reacts here. It's going to be brought to you by Chris Rooney, Home Experts.
I was just 1 year old when my family started in real estate, where both my parents were agents. They also dabbled in investing in real estate, rentals, flips, and construction. After college, I went right into getting my license in July of 1990. As a 23-year-old agent in an industry that looks nothing like today, I had to know more for my clients to choose me. There wasn't Zillow or social media to tell them how good I was. I had to win them over with knowledge. With knowledge comes confidence, and with confidence comes results.
Did you figure out how old I am, Andy? There was clues in there to give it to you.
37?
Can't get nothing past you.
I know.
Okay, what is this? My phone. Hundreds of contacts of people I met on one deal and haven't talked to since. What do they say about realtors? That most of the people would reuse their realtor, but they never heard from them again.
87% of people that have done business with a real estate agent say they would use that same agent again if they could find them.
Yeah. And to be, fair, a lot of people get out of the business as well. Not many people last over 2 years.
Yeah, but Chris, let me give you a quick example of that. So we've had people over the years that have gone, and again, we'll pick on the Parade Homes because it's happening right now. It's very front of my mind. And we have people that will sign up for contests or people that sign up for the newsletters. Hey, where are the new developments? When are you doing a grand opening? Because they're fun to come to. You know what I mean? So we've had where people have been in that system for 5, 6, 7, 10 years. And now they're calling saying, we're ready to come and see what you guys have to offer. And they met us 10 years ago, maybe over in, Hugo, and now we're over in Blaine, and they still want to come out and meet. And having that information and that dedication to someone, even if they don't read every email, but what's interesting to me is keeping in contact with people so that if they choose to, or when they're ready to, you're sitting there ready to help them. I think that's the key to success for, 100% of the real estate agents that are successful is good, what they call follow-up. And so a lot of agents, like that gentleman was saying, or in his little meme there, he's got like hundreds of contacts. He's got all these names, but what's he going to do with those names? If you don't do anything with them, you're not going to produce any business out of it. Got to have a plan.
That's why those 3 digestible clips we post on Facebook are so important, Andy. Keep them on top of mind, right? I see you've been sharing them on your page. They're getting some good traction.
Well, thank you. Chris doesn't follow us, but
let's just say, seen a lot less of you realtors doing TikTok dances now that the market is cooling down. You would think they'd be doing more dances.
We're still editing our original TikToks that we haven't released yet.
They're coming. Hey,
I did a TikTok.
Andy dancing on a silo.
Did you guys see my TikTok I did this week?
Your what?
I actually did a TikTok.
What?
Hang on.
This is going to be good.
Oh, darn it.
I just don't believe him, but.
Please stand by. You guys keep talking. I will find it.
Yeah. So what was his comment that I wasn't, I haven't been sharing things. This is not good. I need to start sharing, I guess.
Yeah, Andy shares all the clips, and they're getting some good views. So we got to share them on your Rooney Home Experts page.
My kids are the ones that found it. I didn't even know it was on there, and my kids found it. Hang on.
That you have a TikTok?
Yeah, they go, Dad, we loved your TikTok. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Well, Nick, let's keep going. He'll find his TikTok. All right. One of the best feelings you can ever have as a real estate agent is just shipping a referral out into the universe and completely forgetting about it until you get a call asking where they should send your check. Interesting. So we have that ability. So let's just say that we have a client, but maybe they're looking in Florida or Arizona. Kind of what we do is we kind of do their interviewing for them and try to find a good agent that's down there. And typically they'll give you a little piece of that commission in the end. And so we can get a referral from our client. Now, I'm kind of one of those beliefs that I know that client better than anyone. And so I kind of want to be more involved in it. But in a case of just throwing a name down there and never talk to these people again, then all of a sudden a check shows up because they purchased a house. I guess that would be kind of a nice thing to get.
Yeah.
Nice little present.
Totally.
And I'll tell you what, another way in which to do that is to be able to find a good lender. Because I think some real good lenders can take a buyer that no one thought they could buy and be able to make them a buyer. And then you're getting paid a commission once they purchase a home. So that's another nice little present. Here we go.
All right, I found it. You ready?
Got it.
Sorry, Nick. All right.
Okay, hold on. No, hold it back a little. Towards your face. Put it more towards your face. The camera.
Shoot. I am so good at technology here. Hang on.
Oh, you lost it again?
No, I got it. I just don't know how to rewind it here. Hang on.
Yeah, play it the,
Hang on.
play it the whole way.
It's coming. It's coming. Give me 30 seconds here. Hang on. I'm
God,
sure, let it roll.
I'm sure glad we're so good at social media. Oh boy, Nick's got a new thing here. Okay, there's a little sliding scale here. Just says, just call people and ask for their business. Weird concept. No, realtors need to have, here we go. Realtors need to have a chatbot, IDX website, whatever, artificial intelligence, PPC ads, Google My Business script, coach, and a logo. And then it's just call people and ask for their business.
It's an IQ chart. So the dumb people are saying the same thing as the really smart people. You see?
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So very, very interesting.
Okay.
Put it towards your face though, Andy. That's more in the middle.
Like this?
Okay, now closer. Nope, now closer to the camera. Okay, here we go. There you go. Right there.
Would you like to be the next member of the Grand Old?
What the heck is that? Oh my God. Hold on.
Oh my God.
Why is it? It's playing the wrong music.
So we are here for the top 5 questions.
Hold on.
Andy, just send it to me and we'll do it next show.
Play it.
Here, Nick, I'll forward it to you. Give me your personal cell phone number on the air, please.
Just do the email I sent you the link on.
Okay.
All right, let's so Chris, what did you think about this one? You think it was true? That the realtors, the middle of the pack realtors get too crazy with different things instead of just doing the basics, like the stupid person and the really smart person?
Yeah, I think that goes for everything. I think everyone thinks they need to do all these different things, and it's an excuse for not doing what you really should do. And that's sometimes just making a phone call. And I think we all find ourselves in that position. And sometimes it's much easier just to get a computer system that sends out automatic emails and keeps you top of mind. And maybe that's more informative, but to try to stay in touch, I mean, it's weird sometimes, but you might want to just talk to people as well. And I think, again, we all find ourselves in that position. You get busy and you don't have time in which to be able to do it. But I think phone calls tend to make, what happens with me is phone calls tend to make me super, super busy because you start finding out things that these people want, or maybe they were just thinking about, and oh, it's so crazy that you called. I was just thinking about maybe selling my mom's house, or my sister is going to be purchasing a place. And I wonder if you could answer this for me. And now you become a help. And then they're telling people, hey, this realtor, my realtor said this. And I think this is a good thing. So.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
I sent it to you finally. I haven't been paying attention. That was I should probably have planned that better.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Andy, about all these little different systems that we all have versus picking up a phone and talking to people?
I think it's a fallacy to think that you have the capacity as a human to keep track of hundreds of people. I think you can keep track of about 25 people in your brain and sort everything properly and make sure to tell them happy birthday on their birthdays and whatever. Beyond that, you're going to rely on some kind of a device. For me, for business, I think there's a lot of things that trigger. Some customers want, no contact, and they just say, hey, I'll let you know when I'm ready. But those are the customers that end up buying an open house from the agent in the open. So I kind of listen, but what I do is I provide less touches to those people. So I'll do like open houses. I do video newsletters. I'll do things like that where I'll say, hey, here's your quarterly update for the people that don't really want to talk to us. And then once a quarter they see us, they get a video update on what's going on in the market or whatever, because I'm a real estate guy. I'm not supposed to send you recipes. I'm not supposed to send you, hey, turn back your clock, even though I do some of that too. But I in my opinion, real estate agents are supposed to be real estate. What's hard for me as a Gen X guy too is putting out like personal information and photos. And this is me having fun. I always think it has to be all about business, or this is how it relates to my business, or this is how, and so it over the years, it's been a little bit of a challenge, for me to kind of open up to this whole reach out and touch someone, kind of the old Ma Bell or whatever that was, right? And I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I believe in it.
Life gets busy. Uh-oh, here we go.
For the top 5 questions with Andy. Pants or shorts?
Shorts.
Mountains or beach?
Beach.
Real estate or operating heavy equipment?
Heavy equipment.
Cake or ice cream?
Ice cream.
Thongs or tennis shoes?
I
You have to
That's not over.
That was great. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Appreciate you. You're very welcome. Appreciate you.
there we go. No, she makes fun of me for laughing and snorting. And anyway, it was funny. I thought it was that's my first TikTok. Kind of a recruiting TikTok, if you will.
You are a TikToker. I'm glad they brought up the flip-flops.
Yeah. I'm wearing pants today, man. It's a little chilly.
Yeah. Oh boy. Is that ever? That's perfect.
Yeah.
A meme basically with realtors playing off of their designations you get. So anyone can kind of create a designation with a little class.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Andy's big machinery operated farm specialist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She caught me the reason why I said that, by the way, she caught me the day that I was working on my lot up in Alex, where I was running a Bobcat around that day and I was having a blast with it. And then I came back to the cities and I still had that in my brain, like fresh, that I love driving equipment.
Yeah.
But no, but you're right. I think that there's designations are kind of interesting because what it does, I think a lot of times, like a senior specialist or a, first-time home buyer specialist or a certified distressed property expert or an investment, it's just telling people that, hey, if you're in this category, we have extra training in this area that makes you feel comfortable using us as an agent. And I think that sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, because I don't know. Just because you have the training doesn't mean that you're good at it.
I think the best designation is people that have worked with you talk about you. I think that's what I think that should be the best designation. And you get kind of a real good insight. And I think people like to work with people that are like-minded type people as well. So they kind of understand each other, because working with a realtor, it's not a one-day kind of thing. You're dealing with these people for quite a long time. And typically, I mean, it could be multiple years, going back and forth and helping. And sometimes, like, you go into new construction. I mean, my goodness. I mean, you can be with them through the planning stage, the building stage, and then through the whole warranty. I mean, that could be 2 or 3 years right there. So,
well, my God, I've got customers, Chris, I've got customers of mine that built with us back in like 2004 that now have built with us again. And I've sold their dad's house and bought their kids a house. And I mean, it's like you're 6, 7, 8 deals deep with some of these people. And there's a real simple formula here, guys. Take care of people, demonstrate value, show them that you know what you're doing, help them make the best deal possible, cut the best terms you possibly can. Doesn't mean you have to be this, angry, arguing, negotiator. It just means do your job. Power the customer with knowledge, and then the knowledge that you've helped them, they'll tell you what to do. Yes, I want that house, go get it. And here's what I'm willing to do to get it based on the information provided, right? It's not our job to say, hey, you want to buy a house? Hey, you want to sell a house? That's so not our job right now. Anyway, I got into a training class about that, and there was people like, oh, this guy'd be really good, or this girl would be really good at sales because they're salesy. And I go, they actually usually fail right now. Most people that are engineer-minded, information gathering, resourceful, those agents are the ones that do the best right now.
Compass, the 20 companies they own, the other 20 companies they own. What?
Yeah, Compass lost about $300 million last quarter too. They're in financial trouble, cut their entire staff back. All these companies that are trying to make real estate look easy, like historically has happened, they just fail. And they're a huge company, but their stock is really suffering right now.
There's a lot of good agents that have moved over to Compass, though.
Well, I know, but just for the consumer listening, the reason why Compass has taken off so well is that they really have that advertising agency side of their company. So you, as a real estate agent that love to talk to people and be a salesperson, you can go do your thing. And then when it comes to brochures, websites, all that, they have almost like their own advertising agency in-house that really, really dials it in for you. And that's their big advantage. So you look like you could be an independent agent and then go there and look like a rock star. Now, I don't know what the commission splits are. I'm sure they're getting paid handsomely for their work, but
I don't know either.
Hey guys, we're gonna play a little childhood game. We're not gonna say the bad word, so we're gonna name it Flip, Live, Dumb. So marry, F, kill. That's kind of how we're gonna do it, you know. So would you flip this home?
This was fourth grade.
Would you live in the home or would you dump it? I'm gonna give you three options.
Can you imagine Chris and I on a playground chasing girls around with this game going on? Hey,
Yes, you understand the rules?
So we're choosing which one we'd live in,
kiss,
which one
keep, or
we'd get rid
kill.
of, and which one we would flip.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go through all three first, and then after we'll take turns
I
saying.
would like to state something before we go here. I will flip everything. Everything's for sale in my world. Just so
Okay.
you know. Okay. Next.
Okay. Let me know if you want to see photos.
By the way, you have my wife laughing over here in the corner of the office.
My wife doesn't laugh about that at all.
I know.
20th move coming up. So, anyways.
My
okay,
screen is smaller, so I can't read any of that. I'm sorry. Hang on. Let me see if I can go full screen with you guys.
You
There
can't
we go.
see that?
I'm good. I'm back.
Go ahead, Andy.
Okay, so 5-bedroom, 4-bath, 3,069 square feet. In Shoreview, 640,000. Okay.
Just give us a quick shot of those photos, Nick.
Yep.
We can probably move on.
Golden Oak. Updated stairs.
It looks like more of a traditional type 2 story.
Yeah, hemlock doors. Yeah.
It's a cool
Yep.
backyard.
Yeah.
Okay, in a neighborhood.
Oh, they even put the
Yep.
floor plan on. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, definitely traditional.
Sure.
All right. So that's number one.
It's a pretty street.
Okay, this is in Bloomington. It's on Bliss Lane. Bliss Lane.
Huh.
Trying to think where Bliss Lane is. 1109. Huh. 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 550, built in 73. Let's see. So we're close to, is that 35 or 494? That's 35W, and
Yep.
so it's close to the river. So
Mall of America. Yeah.
yeah, getting more close to the other side of the river. So, all right, Bloomington, you're going to find a lot more homes that are older. This is actually kind of a newer home in Bloomington, built in 73. So, and typically what happens is the closer you get to south of the river, the newer the homes are. Can you just do a couple more of those pictures? Okay. Looks like a great lot, though, doesn't it?
Sure does.
For Bloomington, that's a really nice lot. Cool. All right, I got my thoughts on that one. Number 3. Okay, this is in St. Paul.
But what part of St. Paul? St. Paul, that's a big picture.
Can you give us the?
Yeah, click on the address. So almost like Little Canada.
Yeah, so we're up a ways.
Okay,
Yeah,
Little
on the other
Canada,
side of it.
Landis Heights. Gotcha. Gravel driveway.
Andy's territory.
Yeah, a little
Yeah.
more my territory.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Gravel driveway
Yeah.
in that area.
I'm wondering
I mean,
why is that because it's on acreage or something, or is it a
is there acreage? Does it say? Let's see. 30. Hit the overview part there, Nick, again. I think we can. That should say if there's
1.4 acre? Oh,
on the lakes. Huh. 4-bedroom, 3-bath. Okay. 5 garage stalls.
that's a nice area right there. That little pocket. There's right down the street. They have, I believe it's TJB is building houses there that are all $1 million plus. So there's,
Oh, really?
oh yeah, that area is pretty hot.
So it's got a 2-car tuck under and then a separate garage there. A separate 3-car garage. Huh. Okay. I'm gonna dump Shoreview. I just think on the Shoreview one, it's a little too basic for me. There's no real excitement about it. I think I would live, just because of where that location is, I would live in the Bloomington one, and I would flip this St. Paul one.
And I'm a north guy, so I would probably what I'd do is I'd probably buy the 1.4 acre and see if I could split that into about 5 lots, and then build 5 new houses up there. So I would keep that one to flip it. I know that's not what I was supposed to say, but that's what I would really do. And then the Bloomington one, again, I agree with that. I was probably more fond of that than being a little farther out in Shoreview.
Yeah. So do you think we both looked at them as the home site? I mean, because the two that we chose, Bloomington and St. Paul, were definitely more private, had woods. I think we're both kind of used to that, and wanting that. So, but I think a lot of people, that's what they want, you know?
Yeah. Well, in the city, I love being in the hustle and the bustle for sure, but at the same breath of it, I like having my own space. So that 1.4 acre, and it says St. Paul, but it's probably not St. Paul. You know what I mean?
Right.
I forget what the name of that little area is right there, but there's a name for it. And it's not too far from like Roseville Shopping Mall, and there's a lot of cool stuff right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I just don't know that area as well.
Right.
I know there's like a state fair over there or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real close to that.
Okay.
It's not. It's probably 20 minutes away, but the thing is that it comes down to where, everybody buys for different reasons. That's why so many houses sell, and there's so many, different styles. And I would get into a house like the one in Shoreview, just to be honest. I would want to have that house renovated. I think that area could justify that, where if you put in a new kitchen and some new bathrooms, and at that point, the age of that house, I'm sure you're looking at windows. You know what I mean? And then you start looking at, well, do I spruce up the landscaping? And well, now the driveway looks tired. Should I do a new driveway? And you get to that point where all of a sudden you got $150,000 to $200,000 repair or improvement. And now you're living in a beautiful area with a brand new house, and it's probably still a couple $100,000 under what you can replace it for. I think you'd be okay.
Yeah. Landscaping and all that goes with it is very expensive. I mean, a lot of people can try to do it themselves and get it cleaned up, but when you're doing flips, you got to keep that in mind. A lot of people just look at the house, but if that yard is a disaster zone, you have to get that thing cleaned up. I can't tell you the work I do when I'm flipping homes, just on the trees, just trimming them all, getting the other ones out, getting the stumps out. I mean, you start paying for that. That's very expensive. And typically, if you have a lot of trees, the grass hasn't grown. So then you have to try to get the grass to grow. So that needs time, or you got to bring in sod, and then you got to water it. And if you don't, I mean, there's just a lot of costs that are involved. Does that sound like someone that's gotten burned on that before, or not?
Oh yeah. Well, I just know how much that stuff is. I've been around that a lot too. Back in my early years, I was a landscaper, and I remember how, people are like, well, just do this, 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 and this. And you're like, well, that's $7,000. They're like, what? Why wouldn't you just be able to do it for free? And you're like, because it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, no. And you can definitely tell the professionals versus the homeowners. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
We got a question. I often see homes with large lots, only to find most of it is on the front or the side, especially for corner lots. What's the purpose of that? Do people hang out in their front of their lawns?
It was a big Reddit thread. Like, what's the purpose of a large front yard?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, there's developments out there that are called traditional neighborhood design homes. And it's very interesting. And what they say is that, people mix and mingle in the front yard. And typically there's a park, that you congregate at, but that people hang out in the front. You don't have much of a backyard. So I think
that's by the way, that's urban planning 101.
Yeah.
Getting everybody to congregate in a park and not have much of a yard and have a smaller footprint.
Yeah. And it makes sense for developers. The less land you have to use, and you can kind of kind of combined, so not everyone has to have a swing set in their backyard. Make an area where you can put 3 of them in and save a whole bunch of land to be able to put more lots up and make more money.
There was a concept that back in the 2000s, there was a developer that did, and it's not new, it's been around for years, called coving, where they can get higher quantity of lots and they intentionally swerve the streets. And it brings some houses closer to the road, brings some houses farther back. And so there were some people that had, the big front yards, for an example, and would encourage their kids and families and kids to play in the front yard. Hence, they see each other, hence they hang out, and it creates a neighborhood environment. That was one of the concepts that these, land planning committees came up with. And then there was times where they would also have where they do a park in the middle and they have all the houses around it. And, so I think a lot of planning, and when you think of it at a higher level, not just the developer needs quantities to make their money work, or builders need the volume or whatever to make that work, or price. But on a planning level, it's different. And it would be really interesting for us to get a planner on this show, not just to pick on them for how much they charge in fees, but mostly to get them on here to talk about what is the strategy behind zoning. And what is this? And why do you, only allow certain styles of homes to be built, or put certain requirements on these homes that are being built? So now it's interesting how planning went from being let's get everybody to be part of a community, right? Like Minneapolis, and lay some of the neighborhoods out, and which that was a whole nother issue with segregation and everything else, and having segregated neighborhoods. And I mean, it was crazy. But in the big picture of life, that all put aside, in the suburban areas, they have certain lot sizes. They have certain, requirements for the houses, for elevation, so that the homes appear to be a certain value. And it's changed how it went from being a strategy of how to get humans to be, everybody sits on the front porch and talks to each other and hangs out. And then they say air conditioning wrecked America because everyone inside where it's cooler, you know what I mean? And they stop going outside. And then now these new neighborhoods that are big suburban neighborhoods with big fenced in yards. And what's the goal here? Everybody's, separating and not talking or whatever. And I don't know. It's just interesting.
It's always the goal.
Yeah.
Anytime you look at something, it usually follows the money. Money.
Nick, what's it like where you are?
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up. It's a lot different. People out in the streets chatting. You're not as isolated as you are in the suburbs in USA. I think a lot has to do with the car industries, making it so public transportation isn't as good, and you have to rely on having a car, which there's pros and cons to both of them. But I do like walking outside and seeing people and chatting, and you see someone on their little porch and whatnot. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just different, right? I mean, like I could be up on my loft right now and have a patio up on top of my building, and then I could go downstairs and walk 3 doors down and buy groceries for dinner. And it's a different style. I mean, suburban, like if I want to jump in the car and I got to go to the grocery store, I got to commit to going to the grocery store,
Just think of the money that you do save, though. I mean, like with Nick, without a car, and insurance comes with that car, so if you have to buy it, I mean, what are you, $600-700 a month? Bingo. Just like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you spend on public transportation? I mean, that's, I don't know. It is kind of interesting. And I knew I had a lot of people that went downtown because they like that idea, but now they're getting chased out,
The difference is public transportation is more safe in Europe. I have no issue taking it. So,
yeah.
What do you, true. So where are you right now? Tell the listeners again where you, in the viewers, where you are. And
I'm in the North Korea of Europe, or at least that's what they used to call it. They didn't start letting tourists into like the 80s in Albania. They had a communist dictator that shut the whole country out from everyone else. And I'm on the Riviera. It's like the last untouched gem of the northern Mediterranean Sea. So it's good.
Are you? I'm assuming if we follow you on your bold perceptions, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And we can see lots of photos and cool things.
Tons of videos. Yeah, be careful though. I don't know, some of the listeners, maybe you'll like it.
No,
it's called bold. It's called bold for a reason, Andy.
I haven't seen any of these pictures. I'm gonna hang up with you guys and go check them out.
All right, sounds good.
Hey, be who you are. I think
that's what I say, man. Hell,
absolutely.
Okay, awesome. Hey, another great show. Make sure to give us a like on the Facebook. Remember, we post 3 digestible clips each week on Facebook and YouTube. You can write a review on iTunes, Spotify, send in any questions you have, and we'll see you next week.
And Andy shares them.
Yes. Sorry.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Real Estate Radio Hour. Don't forget to visit our website, realestateradiohour.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or your preferred podcast listening app. If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes or sharing us with a friend. Until next time, stay awesome, Twin Cities.